hope you'll never stray. I try and every time it's all in vain. And when you say you love me, it's only for today. And as the glow of new love fades, the simple spell is bound to break. Love's not always here to stay. Fickle as the wind that changes daily, the world keeps breaking its promises. All the foolish games we play, castles in the air and paper daydreams, but you keep breaking your promises. And when the day is over, I'll know the end is near. When every star above has disappeared, I will remember clearly how I was once in your embrace. And as the moonlight fades away, I'll find you weren't here to stay. Love's not always here to stay. Fickle as the wind that changes daily, the world keeps breaking its promises. All the foolish games we play, guaranteed to leave me lost and crazy, but you keep breaking your promises. All the foolish games we play, castles in the air and paper daydreams, but you keep breaking your promises. Your promises to me, your promises to me, your promises to me, your promises to me.
All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to Vibe Unveiled. I'm Anton Patzner, and today's episode is Castles in the Air. Castles in the Air, one of my personal favorite recordings that I've ever done. Thanks, Gemma Leslie, for letting me know that the microphone was not on before. I'm gonna get better at this. Sorry, guy, but look, you can see we have lights this time. That's kind of fancy. It's I'm dialing it in, right? It's gonna get better and better. Okay, so let's talk about this. Castles in the Air, one of my personal favorite recordings. I'm going to be getting into microphones. I'm going to be getting into songwriting, chords, and I'm going to save the best for last, which is my specialty, string arrangement and production. I'm going to be talking about how I create like an entire orchestra in this room with just me and my brother. So yeah, welcome to everybody that is tuned in. And yeah, it looks like actually everyone was telling me no sound, and I just anyway. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking about that. Let's talk about just Laura and Anton in general. The Laura and Anton is different from Foxtails Brigade. Foxtails Brigade is like original art music that Laura just she's not trying to write in any style. She's just doing her own unique thing. Laura and Anton is different because it is actually music in a style. It's in the style of old pop music from like the 1930s and 40s. And I think our biggest influence, some of our biggest influences would be Billie Holiday and I don't know, just Louis Armstrong. That era of music is kind of the era of music that Laura and Anton, as a project, is intentionally trying to emulate. Or we're just writing songs that are like that. And why we just love that music. Music back then had so much melody, and I kind of miss that. Like, I don't see as much melody in music these days. To me, if you go, that to me is not a melody. Like, that is a melody, and it doesn't matter what language you sing it in. It's a damn good melody. So yeah, we try to write like really melodic songs and put them in this old-fashioned style, and let's dive in. Let's dive into the session. Okay. All right, what do we got here? We've got guitar, vocal, shaker, we've got piano, we've got these muted demo tracks, which I'll show you later, and lots of strings, and we have a bass. Pretty simple, kind of, other than, the orchestra that's on there. Just checking the feed, the chat, to make sure I'm not screwing anything up again. Okay. So, first thing about this is, we recorded the guitar and the vocal at the same time. And here's the vocal. yeah, so you can, on the vocal, you can hear the guitar. There's bleed.
I try and every time it's all in vain.
And then with the guitar, or here's the guitar.
When you say you love me,
You can really hear the room. This room is not a great room for recording, but I mean, it kind of is, because to me, this whole performance is just magical. And look, it's like, okay, you can see here that we did have her play a few times. And actually, I want to see, okay, we're to a click. We had her play through the song a few times, but the bulk of it, like this whole section, is just a live performance. And I think that's what gives the song so much magic, is that this really was kind of just a live performance, and she's playing and singing at the same time, and there's just a magic.
be and hope you'll never stray. I try and every time it's all in vain.
There's a little bit of reverb on the vocal.
When you say you love me,
This is called little plate. Plate reverb is an old-fashioned kind of reverb, and this is a great emulation of it by Sound Choice.
the glow of new love fades, the simple spell
That's without the reverb.
to break.
Still great.
Love's not always here to stay. Fickle as the wind that changes daily. The world keeps breaking its promises.
You hear how much hiss there is on just everything. Yeah, there's just ideally I think I probably tried to get rid of that, but in the end I couldn't, and it just gives it vibe. So I think it's okay. I think it's great, actually.
All the foolish games we play, castles in the air and paper daydreams, but you keep breaking your promises.
I'll tell you guys what I wanted to show you all, what microphones we used. This is the mic I used on the guitar. This is a really fancy mic called a Coles 4038. It's a ribbon mic. It's made in England, and I got this. This is the most expensive microphone I have. It's I thought I was going to be using it for violin all the time, because when I was on tour in England, this guy used it on my violin, and I thought it sounded amazing. But then I ended up not really liking it on the violin that much, very often, and it is a little hissy. It's hard to get it up to level without having hiss. So I kind of, I was kind of bummed about that for a little while, but then I started using it, and I figured out a way to get rid of the hiss. This thing called the Cloud Lifter helps you get rid of the hiss. It's a blue box. It's called an inline preamp. But yeah, I mean, that track is very hissy. But again, I think the hiss adds to the vibe. And there's no DI guitar on this one. It's just the mic.
When the day is over, I'll know the end is near.
And this one is hissy too.
When every
Man, what an
star
what an amazing vocal tone, right? This must be like some really, really fancy mic on the vocal.
has disappeared.
This is the mic we used on the vocal. This is called
Remember clearly
an SM57 by Shure.
how I was once
If you've ever used a microphone, it might have been this one. It's a very common microphone, and it's not too expensive at all. It's like $100 for that microphone, and gosh, just magic on her vocal on this.
in your embrace.
I got the question from Brian Farmer. What software are you using? This is Logic, which is Mac. It's Apple's native recording pro app. It's like the pro version of GarageBand, basically. Yeah, let's see what else. Let's check out some of these other sounds.
And as the moonlight fades away, I'll find you around here.
Okay, shaker. What that is it's not actually. I don't think it actually is a shaker. I think it's this. I think it's this thing, which is a foot tambourine. And I've taped. Let's see. Yeah, I've taped up the cymbals on it so it doesn't ring that much. I wanted it just really tight, dry sound. But shoot, now that I'm hearing it, I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. That's what I thought it was, but now that I'm hearing it, I think it actually was a shaker. I don't know. Piano. Real piano on this. We have, at our practice space in Emeryville, we have really kind of vibey, upright piano. And I played this piano. I am not very good at piano, but I'm pretty good with just my right hand. So I'm only playing with my right hand on this.
I try and every time it's all in vain. When you say you love me,
and I didn't write parts. I just jammed, and you can see it's pretty assembled. And yeah, so there's a bunch of different takes, and I was probably going one riff at a time, just kind of jamming, and Laura was tracking me, and she was picking which ones she liked, so I just play some riffs, and we'd kind of decide on which ones we liked, and just go with that, and once we got it, move to the next riff. That's how we tracked those. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about the songwriting now. Okay, so we started this song. Laura had the first verse, and where it wasn't really sure where to go, and so I came up with the chorus. Love's not always here to stay, fickle as the wind. Okay, so I came up just the only lyric I came up with. Well, so we were writing lyrics together when we were writing the chorus, and I just had the idea of love's not always here to stay. And I'll show you the chords. I'll just tilt this down, and so those are all D major chords. This is a trick where you just you take this note, and every other note stays the same. So what it makes it is D major 7, D dominant 7, and then that's G. And this note's still saying the same. Oh, that's G major 7. G minor. Yeah, and okay, let's see what that is. That's a B. I call this the James Bond chord. So it goes to the James Bond chord. This is... Oh yeah, that's better. So what this is B minor with a 6 and 2. And that's the kind of, to me, the most fun chord, because it's like it's all happy and then it ends on this weird James Bond chord. So that's the songwriting part of it. I'm gonna check and see what people are saying. Pablo Palushili. I don't know how to pronounce your screen name, but hi. And you said cool setup. Thanks. Yeah. This is the live streaming setup right now. You know, just got my broadcast microphone and got the Logic session open. All right, Nemo, love it when you're bringing the questions. Do you always follow the same steps in songwriting? No, I don't always follow the same steps in songwriting, and definitely Laura does not. I think there is a degree of kind of divine inspiration, like just ideas just come, and melodies, especially for me, melodies they just come to me. And I think for Laura, like lyrics come to her a lot of times, and but there is also craft to it, for sure. There is a craft to it, and I don't fully know how to explain it, but I can show you that trick I just showed you is like a chord progression. One thing, if you want to learn how to write songs, just learn a bunch of other people's songs and steal stuff. Take chord progressions from them. I kind of believe that you don't write chord progressions, you choose chord progressions. Same thing with beats. You kind of do write melodies, though. I feel like you do. All right. Let's see. Mark Barna. My head hurts along with my fingertips learning to play guitar. That's cool. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad. You know, even if you're not a master musician, we're happy to have you here. And yeah, thank you. Thanks, Mark. Okay. Let's jump into the main event, or at least what I saw as the main event for this episode, which is strings. Let's check out the strings.
You say you love me.
Not sure why I'm not sure. Oh, actually, I do know why the percussion's still in there. Okay, so why don't I talk a little bit about how I write strings, and this is a good thing to show. This is how I write strings. This. I write them, I play them in with the keyboard, and then let's see, I'm going to unmute this so we can make sure we can hear it. And then I demo out the ideas. And I'll do things like, okay, I played this note, or let's solo this. But let's just say I decided, oh, I didn't like that note. So I'll do stuff like that. I'll play stuff in, and then I'll fix all. Okay, but that was a bad choice. And in the case of this song, I kind of spent a little extra long because I just felt like this was a special song, and I wanted to do I wanted to give it a special treatment for this one. So I spent extra time on the arrangement of this. I think I think I came back to it like a few times. I did a few drafts of the strings on this. Let's hear. Here's what we can do. We can hear this. Let's hear with the guitar.
And as the glow of new love fades, the simple spell is.
So this is just with MIDI strings. Still sounds okay.
Love's not always here to stay. Fickle as the wind that changes daily. The world keeps breaking its promises.
Versus, here's the real strings.
Love's not always here to stay. Fickle as the wind that changes daily. The world keeps breaking its promises.
It sounds, a lot of times I'll leave the MIDI tracks in and I'll have the real ones and the MIDI tracks. In the case of this one, I chose to turn off the MIDI tracks, so it's just all real instruments, which is pretty cool. Okay, so how do I do these strings? These strings are all recorded in this bedroom, and here's just one violin. That one is panned hard left. Let's check out one that's not fully panned. And what I do is I do 4 layers for each voice. They're sounding glitchy. There's something, sometimes when I open up these old sessions, they don't load up this exactly the same as they sounded the last time I opened them. We did this one over a year ago. Well, it came out over a year ago, and so I don't even know when we finished it. But anyway, it sounds a little glitchy. Sorry about that, but you still get the point. Probably the reason it's glitching is this Melodyne ARA, because I tuned all of the strings. Yes, I tuned my strings, especially when I'm doing overdubs. Not always, but sometimes it can be hard to get the tuning with a bunch of layers of strings to get the tuning right. It's a lot easier to get tuning right when you're in the room with people tuning to each other, and when you're doing them one at a time, like I do, it can be hard. And so I do end up tuning them, and I'm really fast and at Melodyne. And that's something I do for bigger artists, is I do tuning as a side gig. If you want your track to sound a lot better, give it to me to tune it. Like, you want your vocal to sound a whole lot better, it can really help. We couldn't do it on the vocal on this song. We did not do it on the vocal on the song. Why? Because it was a live take with the guitar. And you can't tune it when the guitar's in there. You sound all warped and weird. But yeah, strings I tuned. So I did 4 layers of violin. I have 2 different violins, and guess what? I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a little show and tell right now. I'm gonna show you my violins. This is my classic violin, my main axe. It says Otto Bruckner Geigenbaumeister Markenschusschen, Sweden. I can't fully read it. I believe it's from 1950, and it's it's beautiful, beautiful violin. Gone all around the world with me, played on all kinds of crazy stages, and this one says, let's see, Femi Mari Lazara Facet Anno 1999. So, okay, this is my mom's violin that she's letting me use because she got a different one. She had this violin custom made in Italy, in Florence, by some famous violin maker. And let's hear this one. Sounds totally different. I mean, I think even on this live stream, you could probably hear the difference. Can you? Can you hear the difference? I don't know. But yeah, I find when I'm doubling a bunch of strings that having two different violins makes it feel a lot more real, like a real orchestra. And my goal is to emulate the sound of a real orchestra, and specifically the style of 1940s classic string arrangements, like Nat King Cole style strings, and also in terms of writing the parts, part of my work with Laura and Anton is actually transcribing Nat King Cole string arrangements. I've done that. I've taken Nat King Cole string arrangements and figured them all out on the piano, and you learn so much when you transcribe. If you want to become a great arranger, the trick is basically just transcribe. That's actually there's a famous arranger that I met that told me that. He's like, I asked him, how do you become a better arranger, and he's like, one word, transcribe. Okay, one more. This is a viola. It goes a fifth lower than the violin. It's a little deeper, and so. Harder to play, really hard to play in tune. You have to really, I have to really focus and practice to get it in tune. And the other thing is, on a good day, I don't have to do any tuning. But I'm not one of these kind of guys that practices 8 hours a day. Like, I know this guy who is in the Seattle Symphony, and he started out every day he would start with 3 hours of scales, and that was just the beginning of his practice. So yeah, I mean, like, these classical people, they're really, really, really working hard to be in tune and be in shape, and it's not quite what I'm not like trying to be a full-time violin player. These are all just tools I use to make recordings and make me put on shows for you guys, I guess. Okay, let's see what else we can do in here. Cello. Let's check out the cellos. I just did 3 layers of cello. That's my brother Louis playing the cello. Oh, maybe kind of interesting. How do I mic up the strings? And I will show you what I did in the song. It's a stereo pair. These are called SE8. They're a matched pair of small diaphragm condensers. Yeah, and I think I was using XY pattern. And I just find that it's a different sound when you use 2 mics. It's a different sound, and I like the sound. And when I'm going for a big orchestral sound, having them in stereo, I've been really digging it. There's different ways you can do stereo. This is XY. It's when they're pointed inward towards each other at a right angle, kind of. And then there's another one I do sometimes is ORTF. They're pointed out like this, and I'll do stuff like move around the room as I'm tracking. Like so, one violin will be over here, and then I'll take a step over for the next layer. And I go to great lengths to try to emulate an orchestra.
But you keep breaking your promises.
By the way, speaking of panning, I pan orchestra strings oftentimes just in a very traditional way, which is if you were looking at an orchestra, if you go to the symphony, the violins are on the left, the violin 2, so it goes left to right, violin 1, violin 2, viola, cello, and bass. Sometimes if I have a bass section, I will pan it center because bass in modern recordings is often in the center. But yeah, the traditional orchestral panning is kind of high to low, left to right, and so that's what I've done. You can hear that if you're listening on headphones, at least. The violins are kind of on the left, the cellos are kind of on the right. Oh man, Nemo's talking about like the real stuff. When I try to compose a piece of music with different instruments, sometimes I face the problem of saturating the piece with the different sounds it has. Does it happen to you too? I think that this is something that happens to everyone who's like learning to do it, and it's way more often that I see the problem with composers, young composers, new composers, that they are doing too many layers than that they're not doing enough. I try really hard to avoid just packing on layer after layer after layer. In the case of strings on this song, I made the rule for myself that I would do it in a way. Let's see. I think I did it as a quartet style. Let's see if it lets me look at this. Okay, so this one is the way I wrote it, all in one. I showed you this. That's how I write it. But then I split it out. And I decided at the beginning that I was going to do 4 voices: violin 1, violin 2, viola, and cello. And that is just traditional, like string quartet, basically. And having that limitation helps. You can decide early on that you're going to have some limitations. But then I actually did break the rule, and I added more violins here. Let's see what these. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. For some reason, I after I had tracked everything, I listened to the song and I thought, man, really could use this note here, so I added more. So I broke my rule. I made a rule for myself and I broke it. But yeah, there is not too much in this song, and I'm really proud of that, and I think that helped it a lot. And there's a quote from a famous composer, and I don't remember who it is. Like my teacher in college told me this, and it might have been Dvorak. I don't know. Okay, great quote though. He said, he was like, these composers, they had big egos. They talk about themselves like me, like I'm talking about myself. Hopefully not as bad as this guy. But anyway, he said, first, my music was simple and bad. Then my music was complex and bad. Then my music was complex and good. And finally, my music was simple and good. So, for some reason that quote really stuck with me, and I strive for simplicity. I fight my urge to put on tons of layers, and I often fail. Like I often do put on tons of layers, even though I'm trying not to. So yeah, it's really hard to not put on tons of layers, and you can I don't know. Don't feel bad if you are doing that. Ultimately, look at, like, if you like your track, it's great. Just do it, and don't worry too much. The other thing that young producers, composers, the other big trap that people fall into is tweaking forever. Another one that I fall into a lot. Like I said, I worked on this song for a long time. But in order to be a professional, you can't do that. You have to finish. You have to finish. And the danger that a lot of people run into is that they just tweak and tweak forever because they want it to be perfect. That is a real hard thing to overcome. For me, I used to be the worst perfectionist, and I would just tweak stuff, and I would be like, oh, I should, EQ this kick drum like a little bit more, like spend hours EQing a kick drum, or something like that. But you gotta finish. You gotta just keep moving and not worry about it. At Apple, they tell the employees, just go 80% on every task, because nobody can tell in the last 20%. You're just wasting time, and you're wasting the company's money. So I kind of, when I learned that, actually thought that was pretty awesome. So just get it good, get your track good, get each track good, and then move to the next track, finish the song. And probably your song, your 80% on every track will end up, your whole overall song is going to be better. And then your next song will be better because you're going to make it, you just keep moving and make a bunch of stuff. There's I think there you do learn a lot from tweaking on a song a bunch, working on a song for a long time, but I think you learn more working on 5 songs in the time you could have finished one. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing because there's not too much more to do on this episode. Oh, we have the bass. Real bass. Yeah, we got this Michael today. Excellent bassist, professional classical player. I wanted to get a classical player because I wrote out the bass part. I wrote out the bass part, and I knew exactly what I wanted. And I think in jazz, like usually in jazz, they would the bass player would come up with their own part. But this is questionable. It's questionable whether this is jazz. It's kind of more in the style of old pop music, in which case things are very controlled and arranged. So I arranged the bass part, and I got a very good player to play it. That's the trick, you know. Great players. Looks like I used 3 mics on the bass, a ribbon, dynamic, and small SDC means small diaphragm condenser. And I used only the ribbon. So again, that's this one, Cole's, the one that I almost was gonna sell, and I used twice on this song, which ends up being my favorite recording I've done. One of my favorite recordings. And the main reason, I think, the biggest thing is just this amazing performance that Laura did.
And as the glow of new love fades, the simple spell is bound to break.
Just a true performance.
Love's not always here to stay. Fickle as the wind that changes daily. The world keeps breaking its promises.
Let's see. Mark Barna playing a guitar. There's a finger feel with the fret bars along with sound. Violins are mostly sound with a lot of practice. Where to place your fingers since there are no frets. Yeah. Violin is way too hard of an instrument, and you know, I think if I were gonna do it again, I might have just picked easier instruments. But I guess it's cool that I know how to play one really hard instrument. I think that the trick for me for learning violin was starting when I was 8 and practicing an hour a day from when I was 8 to when I was 14. That's a lot of work, you know? And when you learn stuff as a kid, it sinks in, and it doesn't, I don't know. I hated it, actually. I hated practicing. But now I can play the violin, so that's pretty cool. Got to be in a bunch of cool bands, and you know, get to play music with my wife. It's great. It's a good time. But yeah, it's so hard. Such a hard instrument. It's still hard for me. I still feel like it's too hard, but it's cool. It's fun. A lot of times. I guess that's it. Is there anything else I was going to talk about? Anything else I want to talk about? Did a lot of stuff. Yeah, I think that'll be it. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Don't know how long I'm going to keep this episode up. Might keep it up for a little while. Gosh, that the intro was... I had the sound off, and that was too bad. But, yeah. I'll be doing this next week. I think I'm probably going to do Hurry Up John, Foxtails Brigade track. All right, you guys. Have a good one.